MaJaMa Jams is brought to you by This Pop Bubble.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Jesus, Brian. I thought you and I were having trouble with our relationship. I didn't think you'd be talking about getting killed or killing someone or...
Wouldn't even.
Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. Guys, welcome back to our paper-strewn couch, and right here at the top of the hour, drop a like, drop a comment. If you haven't already, subscribe, because we are Movie Nerd Central. We are here every Thursday with brand new episodes and breakdowns, and Mateo keeps us regular on Sunday with fun little things that are all based around movie nerd knowledge. If you love movies, if you're a freak, if you think movies are more important than oxygen, you're in the right place. Give us a like, a comment, and subscribe for more.
I just need some time.
Thanks for being here, guys. I'm particularly excited today, even though some may say excitement is my default. But today we are covering a movie that I once watched before with the Italian. Matthew had not seen it in full, and I think he's now a full convert to the Henenlotter cult, because we are doing Mr. Frank's Brain Damage. Now, if you're a movie boy freak, you're probably saying, Jay, this is old news. Of course I know about Henenlotter and Frankenhooker and Brain Damage and Basket Case. But Mateo, of course, is an old favorite of his. Second watch kind of confirmed, hammered the nail in that I love this, and Matthew was quite taken by it. So kicking right off the bat, what is the plot of Brain Damage? I don't know. Maybe I wish there was someone who could tell us alongside a little bit of a montage. Brian, a young kid, discovers that he has become host to a worm-like parasite that speaks English and promises him a life free from worries. The parasite offers Brian a supply of hallucinogenic fluid if they go for a walk, during which the parasite kills and devours a few people's brains. Brian becomes addicted to the juice and isolates himself from everything and everyone else in his life. When he learns about the murders, he tries to clean himself, but is too late. He needs the parasite fluid. Will he be able to remain sober, or has he gone too far off the deep end? So I had an absolute blast with this. Older I get and more I watch movies, I find there are some that just immediately have that true enjoyment which you'd want to have when viewing a movie. You guys may remember as we did Vamp, episode available on this channel. Vamp from the first second just had me. They were doing the spiel in the dungeon of the frat house. I don't know, I just knew. I knew that this is gonna, I love the way this is going. You can't explain it. It was just the way the character was talking. I found him likable.
Keith, relax, will you? These guys are operating on empty. I'll take care of this. Trust me.
Similarly here, even having seen it before, it got into it quick. And as last time, there is a scene very quickly in the beginning where Brian is being surrounded by blue liquid, and my raised on Nickelodeon, handcrafted, wacky, colorful, practical effects brain just exploded, much like Brian's head did when he gets a sip of the brain juice. This is just kind of a perfect tone. And it's funny because Matthew's been pushing to do movies that are kind of crappy for the show, but I don't think he minds we did kind of a gem today, because Matthew, you were kind of rapt over this, weren't you? This is a Matthew movie for sure.
I don't think it should be an episode. But I think we should have watched it as a film.
Oh, yes, we can.
Yes. But yeah, no notes, just perfect. Has a weird word to use, but it has almost a cozy vibe to it, where it feels like encapsulated into a certain moment in time, a certain vibe to the New York City in the 80s, I assume.
Yeah, 88.
88. And just the practical effect, the talking puppet who sounds like weird Bing Crosby, like you expect him to pop out of Rankin Bass.
It's a, I forgot the name, but it's a late night horror host. They said in the thing.
It just from the second just hooked me and made me absolutely ashamed and embarrassed that it took me 40 years to actually see this.
I feel like that's a good, when you see the really good art, you'll probably feel some sense of anger or despair over the fact of that, am I just discovering this now? Or I feel like the best art, as you said.
Inadequacy of yourself.
No, exactly. I was no joke. I don't mean this as comedic. The best art, I think, will bring out what the hell have I been doing?
Yes.
Why am I not chasing my stuff? And the infamous scene, which we'll get into, had Matthew saying, what the hell have I been doing in my life? I think that's the best thing art can do, is be like, you're a piece of crap because you love doing this and you're not. I completely agree with you with the cozy aspect. I think a strength of this, and I watched Frankenhooker not too long ago.
I mean, I feel like sometimes I'm plunging headfirst into some kind of black void of sheer, utter madness or something.
Do you want a sandwich?
And I think if I remember about both, every environment here feels lived in and real.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that drives me crazy about 80s movies. In a good way, it drives me crazy. I love when something feels grimy and lived in, and conversely, our old scapegoat, forgive me, of the asylum and the sparse-looking, terrible control rooms. When someone doesn't put effort into making something feel lived in, low budget or not, I think that's terrible. Again, Clerks, the mega example of making a zero budget feel like a blockbuster. That convenience store is real. He worked in there every day, and it feels completely 100% authentic and amazing. So I love that Frank made everything feel grimy and lived in. I was even thinking about, we've got some of the most overt, over-the-top fun stuff, and my brain is looking at pictures of the two brothers on the wall, or like what was on the fridge. Gorgeously decorated, completely feels lived-in environments.
I think that to begin with, the low-budget nature pushes you to necessarily use real.
Right.
I believe that the only set that was built was the bedroom for the flooding scene, or at least part of the bedroom.
One of my favorite shots ever, by the way.
And all the rest is just like real, whatever they were finding.
Even the old people's apartment.
Yes.
They opened with who originally owned Elmer.
Elmer? You fucking named him Elmer?
Aylmer.
Aylmer.
Is you've seen they're either explorers or they're aficionados of different cultures,
strange, yes,
masks and figurines and books and all this stuff, and they're just tearing it up, like Tommy in the Room. Also, the alleyway.
Yes,
reminds me a
surprisingly.
lot of where they're playing football in the room with all the trash cans.
You know, I would like to give a massive salute to Frank here because we have had so many superhero movies over the past, let's say, 25 years, and every single time they never, ever, ever once say, everyone knows this superhero, we're just going to jump in. We're not going to give you the origin story again. We're not going to lead up to the... No, you always have to tell what's the origin. If it's Superman or Batman again, let's tell them the origin.
The Elmer's origins can be traced back to the Fourth Crusade, where he was snatched from the Emperor Alexius during the sack of Byzantium in 1203.
Things just happen here.
Yeah.
Up, Brian's my boyfriend. Up, you're feeling kind of sick. Up, blue water's coming in. Up, this thing's talking. Up, he's addicted to brain juice. Up, he ate a brain. Just go, just go.
This was from a time period where the directors didn't. They were giving credit to the audience for paying attention and to be smart.
You're on drugs, right?
Nothing that simple.
Now they have to spell everything, sometimes even multiple times during the movie. Remember that at the beginning we said this, and this one they were saying, this is it.
You're out of your mind.
There was a very famous quote by John Landis that he says that in the Blues Brothers, Dan Aykroyd pushed for shooting a scene where he would park the car underneath some Megatrons from the train station, and he says so that would justify how the car would become magic. And John Landis told him,
I said to Danny, are you going to go with each print and explain to people, see how we're parked near this transformer? That's why the car can do this stuff. Because that makes no sense. You know, it's like, basically the idea of the magic car came from me. I mean, I finally just said, Danny tends to want to explain this stuff. It's a magic car, Danny. It does it because I said so, I mean, what's one of the things about film? You show people, there it is, You want a giant bug, there's your giant bug. You don't have to explain your giant bug. There it is,
And it's exactly
You don't need it.
Yeah, well, it's a big lesson even when it's more practical about the flow of movies. I think it's an even stronger lesson when you have something surreal like this. But a lesson I learned when we were doing Sharks was like, okay, how does Matthew get back into the office building to see Amy if he's just got fired and his key taken away? We went back and forth a bit, and eventually it's like, dude, it doesn't matter if someone's going to be like, how the hell did he get in? Putting that in there is going to completely derail the flow. That lesson was one of the biggest things for me as a first-time filmmaker. So similarly here, I feel like it's to amazing effect where it's like you don't need to
Yeah.
explain, especially because I have to imagine someone coming into this would kind of know the vibe they were getting a little bit, and the person that shows up to this is probably not going to require you to be like, well, how exactly does the blue juice
a
work?
very trauma vibe to it, but less scuzzy.
Yes.
Even with that alley scene,
Yes.
somehow I know what you mean.
Yes.
And what's interesting is, I thought for a movie so trauma-esque down in the muck, when the girlfriend is expressing her sadness, and even the scenes between her and the brother when they make love,
I feel so worthless and shitty and stupid.
Stop it. You're a very special lady.
they're kind of tender and almost cute. They're not played as like we're in a scuzzy movie and they're like just like, oh, it's so hard when someone I don't know what to do. It's like, no, you're a special girl, and they're not played as like roll your eyes. It's like, no, within this moment he's telling her she's special.
It's not sleazy.
Yeah.
It's not the season. The reason is plain as the moon. It's just Elmer's tune.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Ready to beg for it, Brian? Ready to crawl across the floor and plead for my juice? No? Not yet? Well...
Then apparently, and again, this is one of those rumors that have been kind of like confirmed, then denied, then confirmed again. This has been written by Frank Henenlotter when he was, after he kicked his cocaine habit, apparently.
I was about to ask.
Come to me when you're ready, Brian. Come to me and get my juice.
And he was saying,
sounds about right.
For people who, I mean, to the people who are saying, oh, you're glorifying the use of cocaine, he said, not at all, because he loses his girlfriend, he's losing his apartment, he loses his life, so it's not exactly a glorification.
You know, Matteo, this is a great point, is that these idiots equate talking about something to thumbs upping it.
Yes.
That this is, and there's so many examples of this.
Yeah.
Across these explicit, controversial things, this is so disgusting and grimy and paints his addiction to the brain juice as nothing but vile. And someone like that will simply be like, you commented on addiction, that is you validating it, that is you endorsing it. It is the dumbest argument. I think anyone with a modicum of intelligence could be like, this very clearly paints addiction as a horrible, disgusting, tear-inducing, life-ruining slog.
Albeit fun. I was cracking up at the scene in the junkyard because him just looking through this broken fence. Wow! And then climbing the fence and it's just dirt and dust and old cars and mufflers. It reminds me of when we would be on mushrooms and Jason would be in the other corner of the room just staring at a carpet for like 25 minutes. Like, dude, you gotta come over here and see this!
And then poor Eric is not even tripping. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, fine.
Just say no.
But just kind of what you perceive as just like, oh my God, look at the colors and the flashing and the patterns and the way the rug moves. Just kind of really sold that joy of
great acting from him too.
That. Yeah,
I imagine that is yes.
It's also a very I'm thinking of the line from The Witch at the end.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
It's like there's almost the most base level. Like, well, how does he hook him in? Pleasure, colors, lights, sounds, fun, no worries. Just like the most base level, primal. I'm going to give you pleasure. Look, bright colors, and you're like, ah.
You don't need to worry about anything ever again. I'll do all your thinking for you. Just put me on the back of your neck and everything will be fine.
My neck?
I appreciated that kind of caveman brain, like, again, kind of a comment on addiction and just the raw, like, that's why people just, I don't care if it hurts me. But it's all very effective. I would almost like to know how like the freaks that watch this seems like, despite the wackiness and the craziness, that it's a very effective, heartfelt piece. I wonder if more stick-up-their-ass critics would acknowledge that at all, you know?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It feels like there is real...
I think someone did recognize it. It depends also from what era the critics are.
Yeah.
Because if they are from the psychedelic, the late 60s and stuff, they probably get it more. In fact, it has, I think it's 67 or 69 on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's pretty good.
I mean, it definitely seems. I mean, it's a name I've heard. I mean, mostly from you, but also just in the lexicon of horror, weird films. But yeah, it's definitely solidified its spot as a cult film.
It's interesting that both times I have a really solid memory of the first time watching this, when the room starts filling up with the blue water, just becoming joyous over what I was watching. And it's interesting that it is a cool effect, the flooding. But if it's a room flooding, we've seen that. You add, and it's almost to the spirit of and the simplicity of like childhood creativity. What if the water was blue, like actual blue, and it just works? Like all you did was make the water blue, and it's like
Dude, every time
just
he would
thousands of dollars worth of CGI.
Every time Elmer, well, I keep wanting to say Belial because
right. Yeah.
Think of the Elmer glue.
Yes,
it's kind of like
every time it would eject him in the back of the neck to his stem, and it would show the inside of his brain at the little stem.
That was such
stinger come through, and the blue liquid drop on top of it. It was just
with
gorgeous.
a little electricity
Yes.
crackle. No, it's and the first time that I saw it, I bought it in London, England. I bought a VHS because I was very curious. I said, "This is very strange. It looks very strange." But at the time, I had no idea what it was, so I bought it blindly, and I watched it. And originally, I enjoyed it, but I considered it a monster movie. I didn't see beyond the allegory or something like that. Then growing up, I say, "Oh, wait a second, maybe he meant something different."
I know this is kind of tough for you, but could you try making sense for just a couple of minutes?
But I'd enjoyed it from the first time that I saw it, and the funny thing is that in the movie there is a cameo from the protagonist of Basket Case, another movie
cool.
that
the Henenlotter verse
did 6 years
That's
before.
pretty crazy.
And I didn't know, I hadn't seen by then Basket Case yet, so I didn't know why there was that weird connection between the two, and looking into the basket and say, all right, maybe it's something is escaping me.
I've never seen anyone change as drastically and as suddenly as you have. You're like a total stranger to me now.
It's one of those things they say after 15 years. I got it now.
Yeah, the Leo meme. That again. The things that charm me is that simple touch of making the Frank verse and having the two characters from two movies come in. Everything sometimes, and again, second viewing, but it's been long enough that it was kind of fresh. But sometimes everything just works with a movie, and every scene that came up, every choice that's made, I was like, this is awesome. And again, we put some emotion in, but it's a pretty streamlined story of just the base level addiction of it.
Yeah. It's a clever story, and is written in a way, it never reaches a point that you say, oh yeah, had they had $1 million more, they would have done something.
No, yes.
Everything is perfect for the frame that the story is.
It builds such a rich world that feels so unified. Like, don't touch it, it's fine.
If I'm high, I won't know the difference.
And
plus, it's interesting, we don't really meet Brian first. I mean, Brian as Brian without the
you set up the story, then he's almost like an afterthought.
The first time you meet him, he's already been injected.
Yeah, or at least he is ill.
Yeah, he's sick probably from the first injection of the Elmer. But you don't get a day in his life. He's with his girl, he's with his brother, they live together, blah, blah, blah. You just kind of get right into it, which is kind of cool.
You look awful.
I feel awful.
And he acts it very well, but he's almost kind of like just a blank slate everyman, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost indistinct. And
it's I think that allows you to be actually sympathetic for him without really knowing the character, without there being that rich of a character.
He is not neither too over the top nor too, because it's just like he hits the perfect note.
Yeah, because it's funny, in some of the goofier scenes, I was almost thinking like, oh, this is a type of role I would love. I probably, of course, would have turned it up. And that could be a fun movie too, but you're right. It's kind of, there's a restraint that's like, you could go Jim Carrey with this, with how wacky it is, but it's kind of beautiful that
it's still plausible.
A little bit grounded seems like a weird word for a movie like this, and yet it's not, an 11 out of 10, it's kind of still keep it pulsating within the movie's reality it builds to you.
And keeps everything fairly small, where you do have his home life, the brother and his girl trying to find him. Where's he running to? What's wrong with him? What is he doing? How can we help him? And all that kind of contributes to it feeling real, and also kind of you care about him, regardless of how base he might be.
Yeah.
You're a wreck, Brian. You've got to relax. Why don't you put me on your neck and calm down?
No way! It's not gonna happen again!
Also, I was kind of thinking during it, similar to what I said, how the pitch of the movie is just pleasure, just colors and music and euphoria. It is kind of I thought it was a pretty cool way to discuss drugs. It always seems like there's this bit of dishonesty where the reason they're a problem, and this is what makes me think of the Blue Room scene, like when you are in the middle of a good high, it's just so awesome. And again, it kind of sounds like it sounds like a dumbly obvious statement, but I feel like there's always kind of a dishonesty around, like, that's what the blue water scene made me think of. Like, there's nothing better than that.
There's a reason people ruin their lives over heroin.
Right. In that moment. And I always tell you that one of the Awesome Time episodes you did, you have a TV host mistakenly get injected with heroin.
Oh, snap.
Everyone needs to experience this.
Go to your homes and try heroin! Hashtag I feel like my heart is having an orgasm!
What a bimbo. And then start telling the people how great it is and that they should do it. And I always thought you could laugh at that as a base level, but the thing that makes me cackle about it, perhaps just being too over-analytical, but the thing that always made me cackle about that joke is, like, if I just, like, hey, hold on a second, let me inject you. No one on earth, if you get the good version, we always know drugs effects can go sideways. Oh my God, my heart.
You gotta get the good stuff.
If you get the good version, no human being on earth is going to be like, oh, this heroin feels so bad. I totally don't want this warm, exploding 8-hour full body orgasm. And I think there's something about, we've been talking about the simplicity of this movie, not over-explaining. I think there's actually something honest about drug addiction in that simplicity, and how much Brian is just like, it's like, he doesn't talk to me anymore. He doesn't go to work. He triple lock the door. He's just refilling his water. It's just like streamlines in. And again, it sounds like a very obvious point. Like, oh, really, Jay? Do drugs feel good? Wow, Professor.
Just say no.
But I feel like the simplicity of this is kind of an honest take on it of, like, look, when you are on it, that is it. You are floating in blue psychedelic liquid, and everyone in your life could die, and this is better. And I think the more I think about it,
better than everyone in your life dying.
Once I hear that Frank wrote this coming off an addiction, I'm like, that makes sense, because I do think beneath the surreal psychedelic punch of this, there is a lot of true honesty about, like, again, the primal pleasure of addiction. Drag you back to the animal level. I don't care about my job, my relationships. This blue water feels amazing. Hit me again, Elmer.
Master. Master. Wait, Master.
Shine, little glowworm, glimmer, glimmer. Wow, these guys are incredible. Show her. There. You see? That didn't hurt.
JJ?
No, thanks.
You already have one! Judy, just put him down.
And the paranoia that.
Yes, and the paranoia is like, you're not gonna. He's gonna leave me. I need to do it again.
All the locks and stuff. And
yeah.
I was reminded when we watched Pineapple Express.
Cops.
When he's driving, he's pointing at the
Yeah,
cops,
yeah.
and you told me, and that's exactly what happens when.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So even without saying it, it shows you that they're paranoid.
Look at this.
That's more than he's got on the front door.
Yeah, but he only locks these when he's in here.
Why? What's he hiding?
I don't know.
and at the same time they don't want to lose the source of their pleasure.
Yeah.
It's very streamlined.
He needs the brains, but I need his juice. It's as simple as that. I tried to fight him, but I can't.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Let's go talk about that scene.
Yes, thank you.
One of the most cut scenes from a lot of versions. The VHS that I had from London, it had that scene, but only one shot. There is only the first sideways. The other two are cut.
Here's what's so absolutely awesome, and as we talk this out, this movie just gets better and better.
It's just a little worm creature. It's
Just
not
watch
actually
it.
his dick.
Well, here's what I think it is. And the first time I watched this with Mateo, and
Can we show it?
if you guys remember,
doubtful, but
if you guys remember the when Andy in the 40-year-old version is watching Elizabeth Banks pleasure herself in the bathtub, and he's just sitting there and he goes,
"Wow, this is graphic."
It's true.
I swear the first time I watched this, I think I had like a, oh my God, this is what I think the strength of the scene is what Frank did. And also with the texture of Elmer and the look of Elmer, you make it blue so it's not. Other than that, it's a fleshy shaft. I think the brilliance or whatever you want to call this scene, it is literally how a blowjob looks, but with a blue creature. You are literally watching a complete X-rated, in-the-mouth, hardcore, dick going in, slimy shaft coming, like everything about it is a blowjob scene, but the fact that it's blue, and I think that just has such a like, okay, this was a grimy Trauma-esque, but this is
Plus
like
grabbing the back of the head,
yeah,
too.
grabbing the back. This is a full-on like just porno scene that just happens to be a blue creature as opposed to the shaft.
Also, just a close-up of him eventually proceeding back into the pants and a little bit of brain dribbling off the fly and just zipping his pants up, going out the back door. Like, anyone see that? Okay, we're good to go. And then, dude, just this followed up by the scene where he's in the alleyway trying to get rid of his bloody underwear, and he's like, I woke up, my underwear's sticky, and now there's blood in it. I'd like to know where the blood in my underwear comes from if I wake up and see it.
Part of my talent, Brian, is to spare you any unpleasantness.
Yeah, but when it comes to blood in my underwear, I want to know how it got there.
God level soundbite. No notes.
Yeah.
No notes.
No, it's one of those little gems that, unfortunately, I think that I don't want to insult is not the right word, but I don't think that 2020's kids would have the patience of going through this.
No.
Even if it starts, it starts.
Yeah.
It just like it begins. You're not introduced to anything. It just like it begins and it propels you in the middle of the story. But I doubt it, which is a pity because it would be a great allegory to say, hey, this is.
Just say no.
It's kind of like this is your brain. This is your brain on drugs.
This could replace the DARE program.
Yes.
Well, you know,
in the elementary school.
Yeah, use Elmer instead of the DARE lion.
Yes. It's been, I forget if it was me or just been thrown out there, like take something like Requiem for a Dream and show this to incredibly young kids if you actually want to frighten them about drug use. So it's like we remember them fondly the way we remember like, oh, there was a Ninja Turtle like bubblegum jug, but like I'm not chicken, you're a turkey.
What is it? Pot. You know, marijuana. Oh, well, I don't know. What, chicken?
Joey's in a jam. What should he do? Kate.
Get a teacher.
Excellent. Get a pizza. Get real.
Get out of there.
You got it. Let's see if Joey's that smart.
I'm not chicken. You're a turkey.
Classic drug commercial. Like, what are you actually instilling in kids other than like even
ever
at
used
that
that?
age, laughing at them?
There
like something like this would be like.
Well, first off, don't say no when someone offers you drugs.
Yeah, that's just stupid. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if that's is
Very
it off
expensive.
free?
There's SpongeBob who gets sloshed in the SpongeBob movie with.
Waiter, let's get another round over here. Oh, Mr. Waiter, 2 more, please. Woo!
You've never seen the Basketball Diaries, have you?
No.
No.
That is not entirely like this, but it has a couple of scenes about...
With Janet Jackson?
Love and Basketball.
Yes. This is Leonardo DiCaprio and one of the first performances of Mark Wahlberg.
They're not even black.
True. And I think Ernie Hudson.
Okay.
It's right in the title.
Yes. It's actually pretty effective. And there are a couple of sequences of addiction and withdrawal.
Mom, give me some fucking money, please! What are you doing? I'm your son! I don't have any. Mom, don't fuck around like this! Give me some money! Mom! Come on!
That they left an impression on me, and I never did drugs. So,
is there basketball in the film?
I think so.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah. In fact, when the book, The Basketball Diaries, came out to Italy, and I read it the first time in Italian, of course, it was called something like Jim Steps on the Court.
Right.
And then I remember watching the movie, and I said, "Oh, this reminds me of that movie." And then it took me quite some time to figure out, oh, it's the same thing.
Huh.
You know, it happens.
The saga of translated Italian names.
Yes.
My goodness.
Well, it's the Outsiders. In Italian, it came out I ragazzi della 56ª strada,
My
which
God.
means the kids from 56th Avenue, which is not referred in the movie ever.
I thought it was going to be the kids who are not inside.
Yes.
Just say no.
Gentlemen, did we miss anything in this utterly gorgeous B-movie gem?
Yes. I mean, of course.
Yes.
Anything important? I feel like we've given it its flowers. The infamous scene, the blue water scene. I think we highlighted most of the specialness.
The junkyard, which is a great sequence.
Junkyard with the pulsating cars.
The withdrawal scene in the hotel or in the sleazy hotel when he's...
This movie is fantastic.
Yes.
Across the board, it's a great example of B-movie cinema.
And people who hasn't seen it have a brain damage.
Yes.
Well, it's no big deal. Nothing to get upset about.
So go watch it. This is a highest possible recommendation from all the boys here on the couch. Yeah. With that being said,
let's
express our feelings. I was going to say it. I know the tagline. I've only messed it up 37 times in the past 2 episodes.
Do you have a tagline?
Let's express our feelings by throwing pieces of paper. And guess what? I'm going to start. I haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, right?
I haven't done this in a while.
Right?
But I am not throwing anything.
Ditto, my brother.
Because I think that, again, I like...
First of all, we've been watching some garbage
we needed this. We needed this.
This is a sorbet to cleanse the palate.
We needed
Not
this
sure why, but it's been like a steady stream of garbage content.
God, just being
Don't
tortured.
worry. From next week, we'll start again.
But, perfect. Just an absolute perfect gem. Really no notes. And I love sometimes the second time crystallizes and concretizes the opinion. So now I can say 100% I love this. A blast. If you guys have watched this and you think that you would enjoy it, I guarantee you will. I assume it's probably readily available on streaming somewhere.
I think so.
Beautiful Blu-ray edition from Arrow Factory.
Arrow, it's a fantastic. They did a superb job.
Slight holographic blue to the brain on the cover. Just beautiful.
Arrow logo looks like a butt plug.
Arrow logo looks like a butt plug. I like the rainbow colored lines next to it.
I think that is their slogan, the tagline underneath them.
A great return to form before Matthew forces us to watch stuff like Assassin 3030 AD. Oh, God. Anatar.
That gentleman's suggestion right there. Those two actually.
Toxic Obsession.
He holds the
Skyscraper.
Me too.
Oh, The Lift.
Me too.
You know what? My hands are clean.
Yes.
Jesus.
I may have encouraged it,
God.
But... MaJaMa.
Well, guys, I said it before, I said it again. We're at the end of the hour here. If you enjoyed this, drop a like. Tell us if you've seen this. Tell us if you know other Henenlotter movies. Bless us with a comment. Subscribe for this regular content. We're here on this couch each and every week. We love movies. We love everything about them. And we're going to keep breaking down every aspect of the movie world on this couch. So from this couch to your couch where you're sitting watching this, Thanks for coming around again. And this has been a jam. Bam and a bam.
There was no the anymore?
Don't do it if it doesn't feel right.
Okay, didn't. Natural. It was great. We needed this.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
When the room starts filling up with the blue water, just becoming joyous over what I was watching, where Brian is being surrounded by blue liquid. What if the water was blue, like actual blue, and it just works? Slight holographic blue to the brain on the cover, just like all you did was make the water blue.
Just say no.